Aziz milletim,
My great nation,
değerli basın mensupları,
dear members of the press,
sizleri en kalbi duygularımla,
I would like
muhabbetle
to
selamlıyorum.
greet you all cordially.
Sözlerimin hemen
At
başında
the beginning of my speech,
önceki gün
first
başta
and
Giresun
foremost,
olmak üzere Karadenizimizin bazı
I would
illerini
like
etkileyen
to
afette
remind
hayatlarını
and I would
kaybeden
like to
vatandaşlarıma
extend my
Allah'tan
condolences
rahmet,
to my
yaralılarımıza
citizens who have
acil
passed
şifalar
away
diliyorum.
in the disaster of flood in
Milletimize
the Black Sea region and
bölgehalkına
also
ve vefat edenlerin
Giresun. I also
ailelerine
wish speedy recovery
başsağlığı
to the
dileklerimi
wounded
sunuyorum.
ones. I also would like to
Halen
extend my
arama çalışmaları
condolences
süren
for the families
vatandaşlarımızdan
and
bir
the
an
beloved
önce
ones of our
mutlu haberler
citizens who
almayı
lost
temenni
their
ediyorum.
lives, and we hope
Afetin
that hopefully we
duyulduğu
will
andan
receive the good
itibaren
news from the
devletimiz tüm
region.
kurumları ve
The moment
imkanlarıyla
that we heard
halkımızın
about this
yanında
disaster,
yer
with all
almıştır.
our resources, our state
Bugünkü
stands
kabine
by our
toplantımızda da bölgede
nation
yürütülen
and our
çalışmaları ve durumu
citizens. And in our
etraflıca
cabinet meeting, we had a
değerlendirdik.
chance to discuss the ongoing
Vatandaşlarımızı
activities in
yükünü daha
the
da hafifletmek
region in
amacıyla
order to ease the burden
Giresun'daki vergi
on the shoulders
mükelleflerimizi
of our
22
citizens.
Ağustos 2020'den 30 Kasım 2020
From
tarihine kadar
22nd
mücbir
of
sebep
August
hali
to
kapsamına alıyoruz.
30th of
Bu tarihler
November, all
arasında
the
verilmesi gereken
taxpayers will
beyanname
be
ve
protected
bildirimlerin
under the
süresini
conditions of
15
force
Aralık
majeure,
2020'ye
and
yine bu bildirimlere
the
istinaden
announcements
tahakkuk eden
and with
vergilerin
regards
ödeme
to the
süresini de
taxes
31
levied
Aralık
and to be
2020'ye
paid
kadar
are being
uzatıyoruz.
postponed
22
until
Ağustos
the
tarihi
date of
öncesinde tahakkuk
31st of
etmiş olup
December
vadesi
2020.
bu tarihten
And
sonrasına
with
rastlayan
regards
ya
to
da
the
reysen
taxes which
veya
has
idarece tahil edilen
been levied
her türlü
and
vergi,
any sort
ceza
of
ve
tax
geçici veya gecikme
or
faizinin
the
ödeme
interest
sürelerini de
due to the
31
default
Aralık
will
2020'ye
also be postponed
erteliyoruz.
until the date of
Sigortalıların mücbir sebep
31st of
dönemine
December
ilişkin prime
2020.
esas kazanç ve hizmet
In addition to
bilgilerinin
that,
muhtasar ve prim hizmet beyannamesiyle
the incomes
bildirilmesinin zorunlu
based
olması
on the
durumunda
average
bu
daily earning
beyannamelerin
taken as
vergi
the basic to
kesintilerine
premium
ilişkin
and
kısmının
also
beyan
any
ve
sort
ödeme
of tax
sürelerini de
cuts,
uzatıyoruz.
their announcement,
2020
their
yılı
submission and
3.
their
geçici
payments are
vergi
also
dönemine ilişkin
extended.
geçici
With
vergi
regards to
beyannamelerinin de
the
alınmamasını
2020,
kararlaştırdık.
the temporary
Yine
tax
mücbir sebep
announcements
hali
will not be
kapsamındaki
collected.
an ve
Again,
borç
under
sularından
the
29
conditions
Ocak
of force
2021
majeure,
tarihine
the
kadar başvuruda bulunanların
ones
her
who
türlü
are
an ve
applying
alacaklarını
for
faizsiz bir şekilde 24 ay
for their
süreyle
collectibles
erteliyoruz.
and their
Giresun'daki
debts will be
faal
postponed
mükelleflerin vergi
again
daireleri
without any
mal
reason
mükelleflerine olan
whatsoever
borçlarına da
2
tecil
months.
ve taksit
And
imkanı
at the
getiriyoruz.
same time, their debts will be able to
Hasar
be
tespit
paid in
çalışmalarının ardından
installments.
hemen
After
temizleme ve
defining
yeniden
the
inşa
damages,
faaliyetlerine
we will
başlayacağız.
start the construction
Gerek altyapıda,
activities as soon as
gerek
possible,
ev ve iş yeri
both
gibi
in the
yerlerde,
field of
gerekse
infrastructure,
üretim
in
alanlarında
households,
ortaya
in
çıkan
real
kayıpları
estates, and
en
also
kısa
in the
sürede
workplaces.
telafi edeceğiz.
The damages will
Rabbim
be
ülkemizi
compensated
her
as soon
türlü
as possible.
afetten
I pray for
muhafaza
God
eylesin diyorum.
to protect our country
Ülkemizin
from
pek çok
any
yeri gibi
sort of disaster
Karadeniz'de de
whatsoever.
geçmişte şartların zorlamasıyla
Just like anywhere
yaşadığımız
else in
coğrafya
our country,
gerçeklerini
the
yeteri kadar dikkate
Black
almayan
Sea
bir
region once
yapılaşma
again has
ortaya
shown
çıkmıştır.
that we didn't take into
İrademizi ve gücümüzü
consideration
aşan
the
deprem,
rules of this
sel,
nature,
heyelan gibi
and we
afetler
have
bizi
done our construction
önceliklerimizi
accordingly.
değiştirmeye
The
mecbur
disasters like
bırakmıştır.
earthquake,
Bir
flood
süredir bu konudaki hassasiyetimizi
led us to
hem
change our
kentsel dönüşüm
priorities,
çalışmaları
and our
hem yeni
sensitivities
imar
have been
planları
shown in
hem
our
estetik
urban transformation
önceliğiyle
plans and the
zaten
new settlement
hayata
plans
geçiriyoruz.
as well.
Yaşadığımız her afet
Every
bizi bu konuda
disaster
daha
that we
kararlı
have
hareket etmeye
experienced increased our
yöneltecektir.
commitment in those
İnşallah
fields.
hep birlikte
Hopefully,
bizden
all
sonraki
together,
nesillere her
we
bakımdan
will
daha güvenli ve
live a more
yaşanabilir bir
secure
Türkiye
and livable
bırakacağız.
Turkey for the next
Ülkemizdeki
generations.
83 milyon vatandaşımızın her
83
birinin de
million
aynı
of our
anlayış ve
citizens, I
kararlılıkla
hope,
hareket
will have the
edeceğine
same level
inanıyorum.
of determinism
Özellikle
and understanding.
ekranlarda izlediğimiz Giresun'un gerek Dereli
Dereli
yani
district
tamamıyla
in
Dereli'nin
Giresun
merkezinin
is actually located at the center of river, and the river overflowed, and we have seen the situation of all the shops in the region. Espiye and in the central district of Giresun is being followed by Bekir Pakdemirli, Süleyman Soylu, Murat Kurum. From the moment that this disaster took place, these brothers went to the province together with our Giresun MPs. They immediately initiated the necessary activities, and they followed what is going on in the province together with the citizens so that the necessary steps can be taken. Of course, some of the members from our gendarmerie also have lost their lives. Unfortunately, we have lost some of our civilians in the province. Their follow-ups and also the follow-ups of the wounded citizens in the hospitals are going on. Bekir Pakdemirli, after the outbreak of a fire in Adana, went to the Adana province, and again we are sending our Minister of Transportation, Mr. Adil, to the province, and due to the problems in terms of the electricity, Mr. Fatih will be sent to this province, and we will observe whether there are problems in terms of the transportation in the highways. That's why two of our ministers will go to the Giresun province, and they will follow what is going on in the province on site, and they will identify what kind of gaps and bottlenecks there are in terms of transportation and electricity. Of course, the DG transportation is there, but I also want my minister to intervene so that the problems in terms of the infrastructure will be dealt with, because there are certain collapsing bridges. So in order to tackle those issues, hopefully the necessary steps will be taken in the auspices of our ministers. My great nation, one of the greatest barriers for the development of Turkey is its high dependence to the foreign energy sources. Although we have oil and natural gas resources, unfortunately they are not fulfilling our needs, and they are not satisfying our needs at all. Since we are paying a high price because of our energy dependence to the foreign resources as a developing country, unfortunately, due to the structural problems in the energy sector, disabled us from closing the gap in the current account deficit. First and foremost, we mobilized our national resources so that we try to solve partially this energy problem. We increased the local renewable energy sources to the rate of more than 2 out of 3. But unfortunately, our dependence to the foreign oil and natural gas resources are still in undesired level. So we initiated a new era. For the deep sea drillings, we have acquired our first drilling vessel, and we have started our journey. And at the beginning of this year, we have bought our second and third drilling vessels. We named those drilling ships Fatih, Yavuz, and Kanuni. And with those drilling vessels, we have one of the biggest fleets in the field. Oruç Reis and Barbaros Hayrettin Pasha seismic exploration ships have also been commissioned. The ones who are trying to prevent our drilling activities in the Eastern Mediterranean will definitely be answered even by force whenever there is a need, so that we will protect our rights at all costs. And we will enjoy our rights arising out of the agreement that we have undersigned with Libya. That's why we have acted so far, both in the Mediterranean and also in the Aegean Sea, having the longest coastal area. We, without any hesitation, continue to enjoy our sovereign rights. And we also included the Black Sea region for our seismic activities. Together with our ex-Minister of Energy and the current Minister of Energy, Berat Albayrak and Fatih Yilmaz, I would like to thank them for their commitments and their non-stopping activities in those fields. And thanks to God, we have made the discovery of the biggest reserve in the Turkish history. So we have received the fruits of our activities. In the Black Sea region, we have discovered the natural gas reserve with a capacity of 320 billion cubic meters, and we have shared this good news with our nation. And we also would like to say that this is only an indication for further natural gas reserves. It is not one drilling site, so these wells, their numbers will increase. Since there are more wells in the region, our hopes for the discovery of further natural gas, of course, is rising. Hopefully, we will deliver those gases for the discretion of our nation by 2023, and we hope that we will receive similar good news in the Mediterranean area. In terms of the energy, our country is one of the top countries in the region. In terms of the electricity production, Turkey has already announced its independence, and hopefully with the discovery of the natural gases and the oil, a new era will be initiated. On that regard, we will increase our renewable energy resources, and we will once again win the idle energy sources. For many years, we flew our cash for the foreign energy sources, but from now on we will use those resources for the development of our country. And in addition to that, we are doing our best to carry out the activities in the field of defense industry to the trade. We are promoting the cutting-edge technologies and innovations. Every achievement that we have increases the self-confidence of our nation, so that we are carrying out bigger projects. We will destroy the tools that are being employed by the ones who try to prevent our nation, so that we are opening new horizons. Whatever cannot be done, we have accomplished so far. Whatever people say that they will not allow you, we show them that we will do it without asking for any permission. And when they say that you will pay the price, even by paying the price, we have accomplished our rightful duties. And the walls which are said to be insurmountable have been passed over. The sanctions which has been used as a threat for us has been overcome so far. The double standards that we have to endure and the values that are being betrayed, and although many principles have been violated so far, we didn't turn back from our rightful cause. We want a Turkey who decides its targets and takes its decision by itself. This is the Turkey we have constructed so far, and we have overcome the hardest times. So it is high time that we will collect our investments, and it is time that we will receive the fruits of all the sacrifices that we have done so far. I thank anyone who's sided and stand by our nation. But I also would like to remind to my citizens, and I would like to send the ones who sided with our enemies. I pray for God that no nation will have such opposition who cannot be happy with the joy of their nations, and they can not say terrorist to a real terrorist. The ones who cannot see the differences between the political interests and the interest of their nation, I really would like to leave them with their dark future and their darkest fate. With our 83 million citizens, we will establish a brighter, more prosperous future, and we will continue to our sacred path and cause. And I would like to thank and I wish God's blessing be on the ones who support us in our sacred journey. My great nation, the ones who couldn't stop us, attack to our economy as it is the case. The foreign exchange rate, interest rates, and the inflation rates are used in order to accomplish their evil ambitions. But with its foreign exchange reserve at the level of $90 billion, Turkey is quite well in that regard. And our reserves, 44.2 billion is foreign exchange, and 44.8 billion is the golden reserve. In the past, this reserve was only at the level of 14 billion. We have acquired gold from abroad, and we have also acquired gold by paying Turkish lira, so that we have increased our reserve 3 times. So in terms of the foreign exchange and golden reserves, Turkey is quite strong. And once again, I would like to remind all of you that the biggest reserves have been discovered under the Black Sea. Hopefully, similar good news will arrive. And hopefully, Turkey will own one of the biggest natural reserves. Every penny and every profit arising out of this natural gas reserve will be allocated for the technological innovations. As the natural gas prices decrease, we will provide an additional money to the pocket of our citizens. So this is a concrete resource which will make our country much more wealthy. Although this is crystal clear, the ones who are speaking pessimistically are doing this without taking into consideration the realities and the facts. So they want to receive political gains. They use the economy as a tool, and they are playing their dirty games against our nation. Turkey, being one of the most successful countries in terms of its fight against the pandemic, is criticized by the enemies, sworn enemies of AK Party and Tayyip Erdoğan. After such a great discovery of natural gas, I cannot understand how those front is changing the economic score of our nation to a negative. In the times as every countries are indebted and trying to find loans from international institutions, Turkey is surviving with their natural resources. Even the developed countries are trying to survive with their indebtedness at the level of 90%, and with its public debt to its gross national income, Turkey is at the level of 35%. And at the same time, our interest payments are not more than 10%. So these figures are really important and showing the strong stance of our country against the economic crisis. Although we are facing many attacks from abroad, the ones who cannot digest that we are flourishing and progressing, they will, of course, try to come up with pessimistic scenarios. The ones who are providing disinformation to the society, no matter how hard they work, they will not accomplish. Of course, everybody has their interests, but at the end of the day, Allah will decide the future of all of us. With the permission and the blessing of God, and with the support coming from our nation, we will overcome any troubles. And there are numberless of examples on that regard. And within the continental shelf of our nation, the navigational telex, the NAVTEX, has been extended to 27th of August. But I am not saying its full point, and let me say, comma. As we did such a thing in a spoiled manner, without any authorization, Greece announced her NAVTEX. First and foremost, Greece doesn't have a right to announce such kind of a NAVTEX in the region, and this announcement will put the safety and security of all the ships in the region under jeopardy. It is such a spoiled manner. It is against good neighborhood relations and international agreements. With such kind of a decision, Greece put herself into a chaos from which she will not be able to escape. From now on, the only responsible party for any tension to arise in the region will be Greece, and the party which will pay the price will only be the Greece. The ones who are putting Greece in front of our warships will escape whenever there is a problem, and I hope our Greek neighbors should know that Turkey will not take even one step back from the exploration activities carried out by Oruç Reis, and with a greater determinism we will continue to our cause in order to enjoy our rights. And the ones who will pay the price are the ones who will be standing in front of us in the region that we issued NAVTEX. My great nation, for 100 years, Turkey has always followed the path which is failed with democracy and the rule of law and such universal values. Of course, such universal values are also enjoyed in our local culture. Although we had many troubles in the region, we have lived by these universal values. As the Western civilizations were trying to exploit the other region through colonization, we were giving our lives for the protection of the oppressed people. As the human life is ignored for the sake of oil resources in the past, we try to protect the human lives in the past, and those values will definitely shape our future ideology. But this doesn't eradicate the fact that the West is ignoring those values. And from the time of the Ottoman Empire, we did our best in order to follow those rules. With the foundation of the Republic of Turkey, we have taken a stronger step towards those values. But we should also accept that West didn't take our efforts seriously. It doesn't matter which step we take, which reforms we have carried out, which sacrifices we have done so far, West didn't see us as one of them. And I am one of the people who experienced it throughout the process of European Union negotiations. For 18 years, I worked as a prime minister and president, and I always have been a party for the European Union negotiations, but I always experienced the inconsistencies in the attitudes and behaviors of the European leaders. They have never been honest. They have never fulfilled their obligations, and they have never kept their words. Whatever they asked for, we have given our commitments and we have done our reforms so far. But at the end of the day, we have understood that they didn't have the political will to make Turkey a full member. So they only stole Turkey. And taking all of those issues into consideration, we cannot define European Union as a union of values and norms. It is the union of a couple of countries with their obsessions, and they still support the terrorists rather than Turkey. FETÖ, PKK, enters to the European continent from Greece, and they go to Germany, and they even receive their residence permits from Germany, and some other terrorists go to France and they host the terrorists in their countries. Is it what you say, friendship and alliance? When we speak with those leaders one-to-one, they deny those facts and realities. They support any sort of marginal groups, but they never support our nation, who even sacrifice her life in the face of terrorists. Those double standards also a signal for the end and collapse of the European Union. No one is accepting the European Union as a union for norms and values. And unfortunately, a similar attitude and behavior is shown by the United States of America. Turkey, being one of the most important partners in NATO, has been left alone in our fight against the terrorist organization. They even didn't support our Euphrates Shield operation in Syria, and unfortunately they opened the way for the foundation of a state of terrorism in the region. and they
binlerce kamyonlarla
provided
evet,
the
Fırat'ın
weaponry
doğusuna
support
yürüdüler.
with thousands of trucks to
Bunları
the
konuştuğumuz
east of
zaman
Euphrates.
kendileriyle yok
When
böyle bir
we
şey.
speak those issues and discuss those issues with them,
Kayıtlarımız da
they
var.
denied it.
İstihbari
But
bilgilerimiz
this
de
is
var.
the fact. We have
Var
those
bu.
realities and facts in our intelligence
Hatta bununla
archives.
kalmamış.
And
PKK, YPG
beyond
terör
that,
örgütüyle bir olup
they
ülkemize
sided
karşı
with
pozisyon almış.
the PKK and
Demokratik hukuk
YPG
devleti yerine
terrorist
terör
organization
örgütleriyle hareket
and
etmeyi
sided
tercih
against
eden bu
Turkey.
hastalıklı zihniyet
This sick
Amerikan siyasetini
mentality,
esir almıştır.
which is supporting the terrorist
terör
organization
örgütlerinin
rather than a
saldırılarına
NATO
uğradığında
partner,
kafasını
unfortunately
çeviren, darbeye maruz
breaks
kaldığında
out as a
heyecanla
pandemic in
yetişirdik
the United
diyen,
States of American
darbekiler
politics.
yenilince hepsine kucak
And
açan bu zihniyet
this
demokrasinin
mentality,
yüz karası.
which embraced
Daha
the
acısı,
coup plotters,
Amerika'daki
is
politikacıların Türkiye ile
unfortunately
ilgili
a black
faşist
mark
planlarını,
on the
niyetlerini,
democracy.
hesaplarını
And
gizleme gereği dahi duymadan
they
inşa
even
edebilmesidir.
didn't hide their evil
Türkiye'de
ambitions,
darbeyle
the evil
yapamadıklarını,
ambitions of the terrorist
muhalefeti
organizations
destekleyerek
and the coup
gerçekleştirmeyi
plotters.
düşündüklerini
And they
kameralar önünde
even
söylemek
said
kaydedir.
in front of the cameras that they will accomplish what they couldn't accomplish through coup d'etat.
En azından bir
I mean,
oturup
we
çay içme
were
süremiz var.
friends, we had
Böyle
tea
bir
together,
ifadeyi
we discussed together.
nasıl kullanır?
How can you use such a discourse for us?
Bu hesayana cevap vermesi gereken bizden önce muhatap olarak gösterilen muhalefet oldu.
Of course, the opposition
Ederseniz de
party
cevap vermedi.
should answer to that delirium. I mean,
Maalesef
I never
ülkemiz muhalefeti
answered
bu ağır
to
ithama tepkisini
this
Türk
insane
şiddetiyle ortaya
delusions.
koymak yerine
Unfortunately,
niye
the
aylar sonra
opposition
gündeme geldiği
party,
gibi bir
rather
zırvanın
than
arkasına sığınmayı
showing its
tercih etti.
criticism,
Çünkü
asked a question
onların
why
kafasında
this topic
askeri
has
darbeden
been brought
hukuk,
to the
emniyet darbesinden,
attention of our
siyasi
people,
darbeden
because
toplumsal
the opposition
kaosa ve
party
teröre kadar
has
her
this
türlü
mentality
faşist yol
of
ve yönteme
embracing the fascist
hayatlarının
approaches
hiçbir döneminde
from the political
umutlarını millete
coup
bağlamamış,
to
gözleri
the
hep
military
dışarıya dönük
coup.
olan bu siyasi anlayış
This
Türkiye'nin
political
en
understanding,
büyük ayıbı
which didn't
ve
embrace its
kaybıdır.
nation but looked for the
Seçimlerde
foreign
delikanlıca milletin karşısına çıkıp
parties,
yarışmaya bile
is a
cesaret
huge
edemiyorlar.
sin.
Bunun
They
yerine
cannot
şeytana
even
pabucunu ters
courageously
giydirmeyi hedefleyen
compete
tüm
with
bir
us in the
alavere dalavere
elections.
ile
But
siyaset
rather than
mühendisliği
that,
oyunu oynuyor.
they are
Türkiye için,
trying to
Türk milleti
politically
için
engineer the
kalplerinde
Turkish
hiçbir
democracy
hayali,
through such
kafalarında hiçbir projesi
ploys
olmayanların
and
tek
deceits. The
yapabildikleri,
one who
bunun
doesn't
külahını
have
bunun
any
külahını ona
project,
giydirmek suretiyle
a concrete project for our nation, is to run after illusions
harbi olun,
and
hasbi olun,
dethroning the leaders.
delikanlı olun.
Whenever we say that you should be brave and saying that you will anyway lose the
Biz yenilin
election,
dedikçe onlar Amerika'dan
at
Avrupa'ya,
least you can lose the
terör
election
örgütlerinden
with your
mafya
honor.
gruplara kadar
When we say that
çöktükleri
you will
her
lose the
melanete
election,
sarılıyor.
they are embracing
Kin,
any
husumet
malignancies from
ve
terrorist
bağnazlıkla
organization
kararan gönüller
to the evil
gözlerinde
forces
kör ediyor.
abroad. And
Hem de
unfortunately,
öyle bir kör ediyor ki,
these
kimlerce
ambitions
yürüdüklerine,
make,
kimlerden
and this
destek
greed
aldıklarına,
makes their
kimlere itaat
eyes
ettiklerine
blind,
dahi
and
bakmıyor.
they are becoming so blind
Türkiye
that
siyasetinin
they are not even looking
tek
with which
mottosu,
parties they are
Tayyip
betting
Erdoğan
with.
gitsin de
So their
nasıl
only
giderseniz
motto is
haline
to
dönüşmüş olması
get rid of Tayyip
gerçekten
Erdoğan.
yüreğimizi
And this really
milletimizin
hurts
desteğiyle
our
sancıya
hearts.
geçti.
We came to the office with the
öyleydi.
support of our
Bunun
nation through
kararını
election.
ne terör
If we
örgütleri,
are to
ne
leave our
marjinal
position,
sapkın
then we
gruplar,
will leave
ne
our
Amerika
position
ve
after
Avrupa'daki
elections.
husumet odakları.
Not terrorist organization and the America or even the opposition parties will be the decision maker on that regard. Only our nation can decide whether we will be in power or we will leave our place. The other parties, unfortunately, is only going after upheavals, coup plots, and the poverty. Since the Justice and Development Party have solved those problems so far, we are the political party in power for the last 18 years. I believe this should be a lesson to be learned for the opposition parties. Hopefully, with the permission of God and the support of our nation, we will continue to serve for our nation by 2023. If the opposition party didn't change their fascist mentality, we will be discussing the same issues, unfortunately, by 2023. As we are giving the mentality, giving the projects for 2053 or 2071, unfortunately, we are still facing with such a twisted mentality of our opposition parties. My great nation, coronavirus, which broke out in the global scale, is an area in which we continue to our fight. Unfortunately, in the recent days, the situation became slightly negative. The weddings and the funerals have become the places for the spread of the virus, and the beaches, again, are one of the places where the coronavirus spreads quite fast. Unfortunately, we are losing more people these days. As we abbreviate it as Tamam, once again, I would like to request kindly from our citizens to obey the social distancing, wearing masks and hygiene rules. These rules are not repeated in vain. Each of those rules are the results of great sacrifices and great endeavors. The ones who are not keeping their hygienes and preserving their social distance and not wearing their masks can become a source of threat which can lead to the death of many people, including themselves. Maybe some of our citizens do not experience the symptoms of the disease as they are the carriers without symptoms, but they should never forget that they can cost the lives of others. They can do harm to their beloved ones, their families, or to the people that they even do not know of. So doing harm to those people is actually a damage that no one can actually pay the price for. Once again, I would like to kindly request from my citizens, please let's obey to those rules until Turkey overcome this trouble. Tamam, cleanliness, wearing masks and social distancing. Let's obey to those rules. I would like to remind one more thing. Please throw your cigarettes to the garbage, to the dustbin, because you should know that one of the biggest sources of threat is smoking. You are undersigning your death warrant with smoking. You should throw those cigarettes to the dustbin. Let's give a break to mass gatherings. We can have our weddings through an interval. And I would like to say that I didn't go to the wedding ceremony of my beloved ones. I didn't go and I'm not going. I invite them to my office and I give their gifts in my office. And I also pray for them and then send them. If there is a funeral, if we pray for the deceased one, it will give the same results. If we go on a vacation on an isolated place, anyhow we will have our rest. In order to accomplish our targets, we have to overcome this problem without reducing the number of our ICU patients and the patients who are losing their lives. No one can have the welfare or peace in this society. And if we want to accomplish our targets in the field of trade and the development, we should overcome this pandemic. As a country who is fighting an historical fight in the fields of energy exploration, Libya and Syria, we need our energy on site. Let's not lose our energy in our fight against the coronavirus. And let's act in great determinism and let's accomplish what we have targeted for so far. In those feelings and ideas in mind, I would like to extend my gratitude and deepest respect to all of you. Thank you.
Teşekkür ediyorum.